Christine, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Christine, tell us a little bit about your field and what it all involves.
Okay. Well, I'm a mental health therapist, an LPC, licensed professional counselor. And I actually am licensed in two different states. I came from the state of Oregon. And 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, we came here to El Paso, which we absolutely love.
Yeah.
And we went from traded rain to sunshine. And anyways, but when I came to El Paso, I came with a set of tools that apparently is very new to El Paso. As a mental health therapist, my husband and I both are LPCs, and we both came with the ability to do what's called low energy neurofeedback. It's a type of neurofeedback. There is neurofeedback that's done here. It's called traditional. But this one's a little bit different. The difference is the traditional neurofeedback is more of training the brain to do something differently, to perform differently. And the low energy neurofeedback, it disrupts the brain. So it begins to organize itself. And I actually have something to show you, which I didn't get to show you last time. So this is an example. My husband loves to work with veterans. He's a veteran himself. And so his veterans, this is an example of one of his veterans from Oregon who has PTSD. And so you can see that we've got a not very organized brain because it's not all even here. And you can also see by looking at the picture that the whole brain is not evenly distributed as color, which demonstrates, is very much like a topical graph when you're looking over the earth. And it demonstrates where all the energy is, where the firing is of the brain waves. So a normal brain, or the brain that, what's normal?
Right.
But an average within a certain spectrum, I should say, is where each of the bars are between 7 and 17. But you can, with this person, it's low in numbers, and we've got almost up to 50. So that's considerably high in brainwave activity, which manifests itself as in behaviors, because really our brain is the computer to who we are. And so what we do then is we start disrupting that, because we want to see a quarter of each bar being blue instead of stuck brainwaves. When we have stuck brainwaves, we have stuff like OCD or behaviors that we can't change. So you can put $1 million in front of somebody and say, okay, I want you to do this, and they can't. And so that's why rewards and punishments may not work for children that have their brains stuck in a certain behavior. It's like asking an ADHD child not on medication to focus. And so what we do is we start disrupting the brainwaves, and we start adding the flexibility of the brainwaves, which is the blue in the sections of the bars. So this is the same person in 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can see just by looking at the color, the difference.
Yeah.
But so when you do this long enough, you know that, okay, he's not so explosive. In fact, he's not hardly explosive at all. This area in the cortex is now down here. And also because his F3 and F4, which are all black and low, are now higher and have blue. There's F4. So those are the depression sites. That's the depression lies in that area of our brain. And so now he's not as depressed. He's not explosive, and he's accessing his frontal lobe and is more able to focus, and he's not so foggy brained anymore. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, all of our brains, this is one example here. Here's another example. This one's an example of a traumatic brain injury. So traumatic brain injury often results in mood changes and disorders and mental health disorders, not having relationships anymore, not being able to have memory recall.
Is there any other quick tips you could give to stop anxiety, meltdowns, that kind of stuff?
You're really interested in that one. So I love this one too. Yes. So when people have anxiety, it is your system saying, danger, 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 danger. I'm going to go into my fight, flight, or freeze. So my heart just starts really pumping fast, and I tense up, my jaw tenses up and everything. Well, that's all communicated through a nerve that is a highway from the brain to the central nervous system to out to all these body parts that are reacting to this danger sign. And so one of the areas of where the nerve is most exposed is along the jaw right here. And it's called the vagal nerve, or it's also called the vagus nerve. And so if you take anything cold from the freezer and you're about ready to have a heart attack, or panic attack, or if you are just really high anxiety, grab something cold from the freezer, throw it on the jaw, and it just stops it.
That's amazing.
It is. As in regards to my system, well, I think the biggest thing is it's fabulous. It doesn't hurt anybody. Like I said, it either helps or it doesn't. You know within the first few sessions if it's going to help. Dennis and I, my husband and I, are the only ones in El Paso that use this system.
How do they look you up?
Well, we're contracted through Amanecer Health Systems. And actually, so we work on the east side, but we actually are opening as of next week one small clinic on the west side.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time, Christine. We appreciate it, and I hope we're able to come back and speak with you again.
Thank you. Yes.